to all of you. All of you, if you have your, you can make 3 prostrations together towards the Buddha, the statue, the tanka, the painting of the Buddha, and the photograph of the Soda, the Dalai Lama, and all your teachers. You can make prostrations, and then we will also make offering of the light. Okay, all of you please take your seats. Welcome you all to Tibet House, the program of the ceremony of observing the ceremony of the Bodhisattva pledge related to the coronavirus COVID-19, to subdue or to mitigate, to eradicate, meant to eradicate the coronavirus COVID-19, and that everybody will come back to normalcy and get a feel of relief. This is the why we are here today, and I'm very happy that there are many people who are really looking forward to this program, and this is the indication of the virtues prevailing over the non-virtues. To just give you a quick idea of this, the sharing of the coronavirus COVID-19. Number one, how it came into being and why the whole world has to suffer. How it came into being, there are only two possibilities. One is in the form of say the human beings' cruelty to the animals and seeing the animals as just foods. This is extremely unfortunate, and then going to such extreme where we anything which moves we eat. This is extremely unfortunate. This accumulates so much of negative karma. Number one. And then number two is what many people think about, what is known as the bioweapon. So these are the only two possibilities that we can see. In both cases, we see the cruelty as is the root of this, and then now the whole world is suffering because of this. As a consequence, we are all suffering. Number one, and not only that, this is the immediate cause of why we are suffering, and meanwhile there are many unseen factors as well. Unseen factors, for example, the wars happen, unnecessary wars happening in the name of religion, in the name of ethnicities, and in the name of the political, the differences in the political ideologies and so forth. So this is where we see that the whole world is just getting into fragmentation, becoming fragmented, and as a consequence, then the immediate cause of the coronavirus, then the whole world is shutting down, and we never know, the worst can even happen. But as of now, what I personally can speculate is that what I can personally speculate is that the coronavirus crisis will come to an end. I personally would say that it surely will happen, and but then at the same time, because that this is what the Buddha very clearly indicated, ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tathagatu, that all these phenomena, particularly the phenomena of the suffering, they don't arise randomly. They arise from their causes, and what the causes are, and is indicated by the Tathagata. So from this, what we learn is that the suffering that we collectively have to endure, no doubt, is the result of the collective negative karma, and to subjugate, to undermine, to curb the power of the negative karma, we have to introduce the counter force, and the counter force is none other than the virtues. So what we're doing here collectively, this is our effort meant to heal the world, and so this is what we need to keep in mind. And today's proceeding may take us about like 1 hour or 1.5 hours to like 2 hours. In between, if you do have if you do have to go for your work, or you have to do the work from home, these deadlines and so forth are there, please feel free to do so. And then once you're done, again you can join in. Then we also have this book, The Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhicittas, and all of those who are listening, taking part in this program, you should have actually got this in the mail, Tibetos mail. We said that this is the text. So if you click it, the title of the text, click it, which you find in the letter, then the whole text will come out. This one thing. And then to some people, we also send the soft copies of the selected pages, put them together so beautifully by our friend Sister Emily from Malaysia. She put it so beautifully together. I sent it to some of them, and so we're going to use that. And then and this is not something that the virtue that we do for one day, that we do for like 1.5 hours, and then the coronavirus will subside altogether. This is not the case, because the consequence is so heavy. The virtue that we are to accumulate, we are to engage in, as well, must be very powerful. For that matter, the power comes from two ways. One is the intensity, and then number two is the consistency too. So we need to have both, because the repercussion that we feel, the consequence that we experience, the painful consequence, is so heavy. Everyone in the world is going through this problem. Nobody is spared. Kings, queens, presidents, prime ministers, the beggars, the CEOs, and the ordinary, the employees, then the migrant workers, and then nobody is spared. Everybody is going through this consequence. So therefore, this is no doubt that the factors, the negative karmas involved, collective negative karmas involved, must be very heavy. So we will try to do both. So we see that there are many people who, in their own capacity, they are trying to do something, to do some virtue. Like, for example, in some cases, like reciting the chanting some mantras, collectively chanting some mantras, and in some cases, like doing some pujas and so forth. That's all very good, all very good. But let's keep in mind that it's always better to do something out of good motivation than remaining idly and remaining demoralized. Then why do you do something? Depending on what capacity, with our capacity to do the most refined, why not we do that? So also, for example, chanting is to invoke the blessings of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and then reciting, doing some pujas. Again, in these pujas, the wordings, in the wordings we see that there are many the very powerful wordings which which explains, or which points to the power of the bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, and so forth. So these wordings are there, and then these wordings must be, can be actually invoked within our own capacity, where you are with meditation on this, the four seals, in order to invoke the sense of renunciation, meditation bodhicitta, to invoke the unconditional love towards all beings, to invoke the wisdom of emptiness, to wake up from the sleep of ignorance. If you can do that, why not? This is the best of the puja, this is the best of the mantra recitation, and this is the best of the remedy to be resorted to get rid of the coronavirus, the COVID-19. Okay, so what we're doing here is something so precious, and of course the many of us are taking part in this, because this must be the first time doing this actual meditation, guided meditation. As such, some of you may feel a little tired. If you feel tired, feel free to rest well. And whereas those people who took part in the Bodhicitta retreat and other retreats with me over the last many years, you're already exposed to this. What we're doing here is going to be quite intense, and like His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all the great teachers, they will be so happy if they see what we're doing here, and they see that the actual teaching of the Buddha is being the practice. So all the teachings of the Buddha, where Acharya Kamalashila very clearly indicated that somehow all teachings of the Buddha, either they point to the ultimate reality, or they lead us to the ultimate reality, or they establish us into the ultimate reality. And what we are trying to do here is to establish ourselves and our friends and all the sentient beings to the ultimate reality. So this is what we, and then meanwhile, let us not undermine. We all rejoice in every virtue the others engaged in, like making prostration, like chanting and so forth, and doing some pujas and so forth. Let us all rejoice in their efforts. Meanwhile, let us not forget that finally, getting the recipe of the food must be cooked. And for that, the materials must be ready. In many cases, the materials are not ready, and then we think of cooking the food. In many cases, we just have the recipe and we are very happy with this. So the chanting and so forth, they are so good. Meanwhile, let us not forget that our good heart must be activated, and good heart should be activated in a skillful way. That is the wisdom. So all that part. Meanwhile, as I said earlier, as I appealed to you, that anybody who is engaged in any kind of virtues, just rejoice in what they are doing. Okay. Having said this, this is going to involve a little bit of, say, the recitation, of the text. As we recite, and there are three ways of reciting the text. There are three ways. One is simply reading the text, words flow. and then your mind may be distracted here and there. Then number 2 is words flow and the meanings reflected. This is number 2. Then number 3, words flow, meanings reflected, and the experiences invoked. There are three things. And of course, the first one is the easiest, and yet easiest, but then the benefit is the least. The third one is the most difficult, and the benefit is the unparalleled, the greatest. But the first one is very easy, one extreme. The third one requires there's somebody to be actively engaged in the practice of Dharma for so long, the intense studies, extensive studies, reflection, meditation, and then you start to get some glimpses of the experiences of bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, and so forth. That is most of us. If we put effort, we can at least do the second one, where the words flow and meanings reflected. And those of you somehow you cannot get this book, whether it's hard copy or the soft copy, or at least the small collection of the pages which we did yesterday, and today I sent to some of the people who are in the WhatsApp list. So you can use that. Otherwise, those who cannot, somehow you do not have the text, don't worry, just try to listen to us, and then try to invoke the meanings to the best you can. And we'll try to read it pretty slowly, so that way as many can be benefited. This one. And then, as I said earlier, this practice we're going to do we don't know how long this lockdown or the whole shutdown will last. We never know. If it lasts too long, then we can do it once in a while, and Tibet House will be very happy to send the announcements to you, all of you. Please keep an eye on the Tibet House announcements. Okay, so with this in mind, what we do is that some recitations, then followed by the actual meditation, a set of 4 meditations. Number 1 is single pointed meditation, and then number 2 is the renunciation. We do that on the basis of the 4 seals, practice of the 4 seals. And then the bodhicitta, of course, for the bodhicitta, because that this we're going to do in the group, we do that with the help of the immeasurables, practice of the 4 immeasurables. Then we'll end that with the bodhicitta commitment. Then the wisdom of emptiness. And then after that, we'll take the aspirational bodhisattva vow. For the aspirational bodhisattva vow, don't worry at all. We all can take part in this. The fact that you are joining this program means that you have a good heart. You have some enthusiasm. You have some, inclination, propensity for doing virtue. That itself is good enough. That's good enough as a criteria for one to take the aspirational bodhisattva vow. Besides this, we don't have any other commitments. Just to commit yourself that I'll try to be kind towards others, and at the most I will not be harmful to others. This is what I will try my best. And this is the commitment that we're going to make. And with this, then in between it involves when we take this commitment or the pledge or the vow, bodhisattva vow, of course the benefit is immense. This is what the Buddha taught. That I can explain a little later more. So in this process, as a procedure for taking the vow, at one point we will stand up to make 3 prostrations, and then we will sit on our right knees. All these things, I'll give the instruction, and then wherever you are, so at the moment you can sit very comfortably, and during the procedure, you can make prostrations with me. You can sit on the right knees with me, or if you don't have the space to sit on the right knees, never mind. Sit in whatever position comfortable. Just your mind must flow in the meanings of the procedure of the bodhisattva vow. Okay, and the bodhisattva vow, as I said earlier, there are 2 kinds. One is the proper bodhisattva vow, known as the engaged bodhisattva vow, And the other one is Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. What we're doing here is the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. For the actual Bodhisattva vow, there are so many commitments. And of course, unless or until somebody is very, very, very prepared with the meditation and bodhicitta for a long time, and you have the deeper experience of bodhicitta coming in you become so confident that you don't feel any the form of animosity or anger towards any sentient being, where your mind, the love simply pervades through all the sentient beings. At that point, you are ready for the actual bodhisattva vow. Otherwise, for us, the best, the safest thing is the aspirational bodhisattva vow. For the aspirational bodhisattva vow, we don't need to take any commitment. Only commitment that we can think of, if at all, you want to think of, is that from today onwards, I'll be kind and helpful towards others, and at least I will not harm others to the best I can. This much, if you can commit, you are prepared for, you are eligible to sit for this, taking the aspirational bodhisattva vow. Okay, good. So with this, setting proper motivation, and I would suggest all of us to just how much benefit you get out of this practice, that I get out of this practice, depends on your motivation. So let us wholeheartedly imagine that you are actually in front of the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas there. The more you just put yourself in this environment, the more the benefit you have. Okay, so with that in mind, just visualize the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas around the two of them, and then around you, and of course how you visualize them, that they're like your very kind parents. And imagine that you come home demoralized, being bullied by the elder children at school, and your parents are waiting there to embrace you, to give full love, affection, attention, and security. What do you feel? You feel so relaxed at home. This is exactly what all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they see you as. And then visualize for the bodhicitta field, visualize your two parents on the two sides, your children, all of family members, and all sentient beings, everyone living on the side, particularly those people who are going through very difficult times at this point, many who passed away because of the coronavirus, and the coronavirus COVID-19, and many who are still who are in hospital, and the many who are quarantined. Just visualize all of them and imagine that all of them, they take part in this program, and all these animals who are in the hands of the people who are putting them to such a cruelty, along with the people who put them to cruelty, let us visualize them around us. It's all because of the ignorance, that they don't know that they accumulate so much negative karma, whereby they are going to be born in the form of these animals in the future so many times, and that some good is going to kill them, eat them up, and so forth. They have no idea of these things. It's all because of the lack of this beautiful culture, that this is what is happening. So let's pray that all of them are there with us, and you are leading this practice. Okay. Then the number 3 point to keep in mind is that while we are suffering terribly, we see the heavily interdependent nature of the world. How everybody is connected to each other. There's no escape to anybody. So from this we see that this is reality, and what we are seeking is the infinite happiness. What we are seeking is to be freed from this misery, this fear. Of course you can. You have the potential. There's a beautiful diamond of the purity, diamond of the fearlessness, diamond of the infinite happiness within each one of us. It is there within us. So it is temporarily defiled by the stains, metal stains, like the diamond in the ditch and the diamond in the showroom. And of course the people, innocent people will go, naive people will go to the diamond in the showroom, but the diamond experts will pick up the diamond from the ditch, clean it up, and put it in the showroom. So we are all like that diamond in the ditch. So with the very dirty environment, mental defilement, and so forth, and suffering so much. And Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're like the dominant. Sure. So why not? We discovered that I have a diamond inside. I'm not a garbage. I have a diamond inside. My job is to remove the dirt so that the diamond becomes manifest. So this is the purpose for which we are doing this. And if that happens, then no external factors can affect us. No coronavirus can affect us, because of which automatically they will be subsided. This is the basic principle behind our doing this, undertaking the ceremony. Okay, with this in mind, let us turn to page 3 of the book. And you are reading this, and everybody is joining us in this the practice. And to spread great compassion, you taught them Makulit Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And to spread great compassion, you taught them Makulit Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And to spread great compassion, you taught them Makulit Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Okay, those of us who do not have this text with your hand, just listen to this well, and then invoke the flow with the meanings. You will get the same. You will accrue the same benefit. Sangye jodan zoge chonam na chanju bardu dane gyapsu che dage jinso kebe chonam ge dola penjire sangye dubarai sho. Sangye jodan zoge chonam na chanju bardu dane gyapsu che dage jinso kebe chonam ge dola penjire sangye dubarai sho. Sangye jodan soge chonam la chanju bardu dane gyapsu che dage jinso kebe chonam ge dola penjure sangye rubarai sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the Supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is the freedom of vibrations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes was helping my greatest to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of which helps subduers expound varieties of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teachers who guard and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines for the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, let us recite this mantra 3 times together. And meanwhile, those who could not attend this program now, they can follow this procedure by watching this Facebook later on and do your own practice. And the same practice you can do it over and over again if you like. Okay, reciting this mantra is being aware of the reality that all composite phenomena, they come into existence depends on the causes. And what are the causes of these miseries? Contaminant karmas, afflictions, gross afflictions, inappropriate attention, and self-grasping ignorance. So if you don't want the fear of the coronavirus, then what should we do? We should get rid of the contaminant karmas. We should purify the negative karmas. For that we need to purify the gross afflictions, for which we have to eradicate the inappropriate attention, and finally the self-grasping ignorance. Ignorance seeing everything is so objectively real. The way we see the dream is so real, and then we are being affected by the dream. The moment you discover that the dream is just dream is coming from our mind, the contents of the dream cannot affect you anymore. That is a freedom. This is the ultimate, the essence, ultimate, the message of the Buddha's teachings to liberate the beings from the grip of samsara. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. The meaning of the mantra: all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. From this, what we need to remember is that all the miseries, they don't arise causelessly, they don't arise randomly, they arise from the causes. Finally, what are the causes? We see that causes are related to your own thought processes, negative thought processes, and crystallize into two. One is the self-grasping ignorance, misconceiving the reality as solely real, and the other is the selfish attitude, known as the self-referential ego. So these are the two causes within us, and by engaging these practices, by engaging in this rich study, reflection and meditation of the Nalanda, the philosophical studies, philosophical practices, then every time some misfortune happens to you, instead of a very spontaneous reaction of blaming outside, if the blame goes towards the two demons inside, not the self. Don't blame the self. Never ever have a sense of self-hate. If you really want to hate somebody, then instead of the blame turning towards outside, turning towards the two demons inside, self-grasping ignorance and a self-referential ego. These two are the two demons inside. You eradicate these two, and this you as this person becomes the enlightened one, the one who is the panacea, the one who is the beacon of hope, beacon of relief for all the human sentient beings. So this is what we need to keep in mind. And as the fruit of this practice, when something of this kind happens, like misfortune happens, then if the natural reaction, the blame turns towards the two demons inside, this is where you become a real Dharma practitioner. Whereas if the blame goes towards outside, even if you think that you've been into Dharma for like the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, still you are an amateur practitioner. You are not a genuine or the ripened or matured Dharma practitioner. Okay, so the meaning is that here, all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Continue reading this. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite, such is the natural light Dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to the words. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom. So now I'm just describing what this wisdom is like, how to wake up from this sleep of ignorance. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and is the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom, to you, the mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times ideal obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. This is what very clearly stated. That finally our miseries will come to an end altogether only if we see this, the truth of the suchness. True suchness referring to how everything is like a dream. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you attach to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you attach to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you attach to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, page 14. Page 14, praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. So here we are invoking the Buddha Shakyamuni, who is extremely, infinitely compassionate towards all of us, invoking his blessings that this coronavirus, the COVID-19 subsides, and then everybody will they come to normalcy and experience their final relief, and eventually pursuing this journey towards total enlightenment, for ultimate solution, that is to have the total fearlessness and the infinite happiness. Okay, together. And you're leading this, and everybody's joining. Imagine that everybody's joining. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, full awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, over the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate, with pure bodies, forms supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, one of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dusty like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparable wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the feet of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you that the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path of liberation, the holy feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the Sangha, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the wave of aging, sickness, and death. Okay, let us turn to Heart Sutra. Heart Sutra, page 29. And some of you might have other editions of the same book. What I have is page 29. Most of you have the page 20. Okay. I hope this Heart Sutra should be around page 31 or page 29 on that. So Heart Sutra, I remember His Holiness the Dalai Lama, oftentimes during his public teachings, when like lakhs of people are there, usually there's a tradition to, and particularly when His Holiness is giving some empowerments, usually there's a tradition to do some the practice, to engage some pujas, to ward off the evil spirits away from the teaching site, so that they cannot create obstacles to the proceedings. And His Holiness, one time I remember, he replaced that by advising the audience, by advising the public to recite Heart Sutra. And His Holiness very clearly said that there's nothing more powerful than the reflect on the meanings of the Heart Sutra to ward off the evil spirits or the evil forces, if there is any. So, following that, let us recite this Heart Sutra so well, and if possible, on those of us, if you include this Heart Sutra recitation on a daily basis, well and good. If not, I would highly recommend you to do it on a daily basis. And of course, later on, we must understand the meaning of the Heart Sutra. Say just spending 2 minutes reading the Heart Sutra without knowing the meaning, spending 2 minutes reciting the Heart Sutra with knowing the meaning, that benefit is going to be like the difference of the difference in like millions of times, and the benefit is greater in the case of the one who knows the meaning. So with this in mind, let's recite this and see how much we can reflect on this. Finally, the point is that towards the end of this, it clearly indicates, okay, Heart Sutra, broad picture is that it consists of 3 parts. One, the question asked by Shariputra as to what should be the child of the lineage. Child of the lineage meaning someone who wants to become Buddha, to evolve into human beings, like all of us, each one of us. In order to become Buddha, what should we practice? How should we practice wisdom of emptiness? So again here, the wisdom of emptiness is the final essence to be practiced to follow to achieve the Buddhahood, and driven by the force of bodhicitta and complemented by the 6 perfections. Then the second part is what response Aravalokiteshvara gave to the Shariputra's question, to see everything like a dream, starting from the emptiness of seeing the self as like dream, seeing the 5 aggregates like dream, seeing the 4 noble truths as like dream, seeing the 12 links of dependent origination like a dream, seeing the 6 objects, 6 sense powers, and the 6 consciousnesses, all the 18 elements to be like dream. In other words, how everything like a dream. Then number 2, what's the benefit? The point number 2, what's the benefit if we realize that everything is like a dream? Then just so you wake up, you're freed. Only then you're freed from the ensnarement of the dream ghost, of the dream tiger. Likewise, you wake up by seeing everything like a dream, you'll be freed from samsara. What do you mean by getting freed from samsara? That just as when you wake up from the dream, nothing of the contents of the dream can affect you. You're freed. There's a total freedom, total liberation. Likewise, the moment you see everything like a dream, you wake up from the dream of ignorance, dream of the samsara. Then nothing of the contents of the dream, contents of the samsara can affect you. That is the meaning of the total liberation, which is so precious. Okay, with this mind, keep in mind the 3 points. Then Aravalokiteshvara, the last point, related to the last point, Aravalokiteshvara indicated that realizing this will give you the total fearlessness. Okay, let's read this together. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Buddha was dwelling on the mass of Vultures mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara: how should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom train? He said that. And the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly, beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the professional wisdom, the mind without obscuration, that's without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the professional wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the professional wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the professional wisdom is declared, Gade Gade Para Sambade Puri Swaha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound professional wisdom like that the Buddha arose from their concentration and commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabhadukateshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice a profound professional wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Buddha having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arabhadukateshvara, those surrounding the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras and gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised as spoken by the Buddha. Okay, we're going to recite this Harasutta mantra 7 times together with the tune. And imagine that the Buddha Shakyamuni, the extremely compassionate, the infinite compassionate teacher, exhorts us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come towards ultimate happiness. And you hearing this, what the Buddha exalts, you inform this to your two parents, your children, all the family members, everyone who died because of the coronavirus, everyone who is in the hospital, everyone who is going through traumatic experience now, everyone, just you inform them. Look, this is what a compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni exhorts us. Let us not remain in fears anymore. Let us all go towards the ultimate happiness, total fearlessness and the infinite happiness. And everybody hearing what you are saying, they are so happy. They join you in this journey of cleansing the mind to reach to the state of the fearlessness and infinite happiness. Okay, and you are leading this, and everybody is joining you. Deata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Arasamgati Bodhi Swatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati 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 Bodhi Swaha. By the teachings of the three supreme jewels possessing power of truth, may inner and outer universe be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the whole 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accordance with the Dharma, may auspicious and perfect happiness pervade this place now. Okay, now what we do is that we will recite. Okay, I think today we will directly go to the actual ceremony, the ceremony of taking the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. For that matter, 4 points to keep in mind. Finally, say whatever tradition that you're following, whether you're following, say, the Theravada tradition, or Chinese Buddhism, or Tibetan Buddhism, within Tibetan Buddhism, Sakya, Kaikyu, Nyingma, it doesn't matter. The point is that we need to have these. Finally, you should be benefited that you have the treasure inside, the seed of perfection inside us. So this seed of perfection, needs to be awakened. When that is awakened, you call it Buddhism, you call it Christianity, you call it whatever label, the Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, Jainism, the Sikhism, or Baha'i, Zoroastrianism, it doesn't matter. The point is that this seed of perfection within each one of us has to be activated, and that you should be freed from all the miseries, and that you should unveil this treasure of the infinite happiness within you. For that, what we need is we need to remove the mental defilements. So this treasure comes out, like the gold mixed with the soil, even though the nature of the gold is to glow, but it does not glow because because of the mud or the dirt there. Whereas we ordinary beings may dump this, but the gold experts will not dump this. They will say that there's a gold there, this is so precious. They remove the dirt and the gold inside will start to glow. Likewise, the total fearlessness, the treasure of the total fearlessness and the treasure of the infinite happiness is within each one of us. Just remove the dirt and it'll start to glow. So for that matter, we need to remove the metal defilements. To remove the metal defilements, this metal defilements at the root is the ignorance and the subtle stains of the ignorance, like the solid garlic and the smell of the garlic. One is known as the afflictive obscurations, and the other one is known as the cognitive obscurations. And the afflictive obscurations stop you from experiencing the fearlessness, which is nirvana, and the cognitive obscuration, or the smell like garlic smell like the mental defilements, known as the cognitive obscuration, that stops you from achieving the infinite happiness. So we have to remove these two. So to remove that, we have to introduce the counterforce, and the counterforce is none other than the wisdom of emptiness. And so this wisdom of emptiness, just as the darkness, to remove the darkness, it is only by introducing the light. It is only through introducing the light of the wisdom that the darkness of ignorance can be eradicated. So what kind of light of wisdom is going to be introduced? What kind of light? So this light of the wisdom should have two qualities. One is that it must be extremely bright, and number two is it must be very steady. And the brightness is the sharpness of the intelligence. For that we need the analytical meditation, and the steadiness is the light. For that we require the single pointed meditation. So what we do is that we do the single pointed meditation, just a breathing meditation for 2 minutes. 2 minutes, number one. Then this same with the combination of these two, that the light is so bright and so steady, will serve the best of the purpose for you to read the book. But there must be somebody to take this light, very bright, steady light, to a place where people are craving to read the books, where there's no light and people are craving to read the books. For that matter, that drive to take this light to that state is known as the renunciation and the bodhicitta. Renunciation will take you to the people craving to have the fearlessness, And the bodhicitta will take this light to the people who crave to have the infinite happiness plus the fearlessness. Fearlessness plus infinite happiness. In other words, nirvana and Buddhahood. So we need to have the very powerful driving forces. And the driving forces, bodhicitta is the king of the motivation. And that must be triggered by great compassion. And for the great compassion, we need to have the renunciation. So as a part of this ceremony, what we have is the first single point of meditation, followed by the renunciation practice on the basis of the 4 seals, and then the bodhicitta practice on the basis of the 4 immeasurables, and then the wisdom of emptiness, and the actual ceremony of taking the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Ready for 2 minutes breathing meditation. 2 minutes breathing meditation. Okay, I'm going to give a quick instruction on the breathing meditation. Very simple. Just sit cross-legged. Sit cross-legged to the best you can. If not, it's fine. You can sit on a chair, whatever is comfortable to you. But backbone, keep it upright, and then don't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes. Don't keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes open, 45 degrees cast down, half open, 45 degrees cast down, and breathe very normally. Don't force your breath. Don't control the breath, and then dissociate yourself. Then the okay, breathe normally. Don't control your breath. Don't force your breath, and stop ruminating over the past experiences. Disengage yourself from anticipating in the future. Be in the present moment, and stay away from detach yourself from the 5 sensory engagements. Be in the present moment, and just observe your breath. This is simple, it's very simple. Just observe breath, count breath, breathe in, breathe out, cycle 1, breathe in, breathe out, cycle 2. So for 2 minutes, it'll be like, say, in some cases, it'll be like 21, some cases 30, it depends on the length of the breath. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Meanwhile, make sure that you keep guard of your mind to stay away from mental excitement and mental laxity. So these are the 2 areas of meditation. Stay away from these 2 by employing the introspection and the mindfulness. Introspection is to make sure to just keep an eye on your mind, and the mindfulness is to bring the mind back to the intended object of the meditation as you find that your mind is swayed by the two mental areas. Okay, meditation areas. Ready? 2 minutes. Again, followed by renunciation practice, which we will do on basis of the four seals. And there are many practices across the traditions: Sakya, Kaikyu, Nyingma, Geluk, Putin, and the Podong, and all these traditions. There are various the practices, mostly related to the Adhishadipangara practice of the Lamrim. And so what we do here is we do it on basis of the four seals. Of course, that is the basic framework of the Buddha's teachings, and that is the ground on basis of which the Lamrim and teaching by Adhishadipangara was designed. And on that basis, all these great traditions, and they design the practice on basis of that. So this is what is going to be very helpful for all of us. So with that in mind, the four seals, and just try to follow the instructions and try your best to invoke the respective experiences. And don't ruminate over the past experiences. Don't anticipate anything of the future. Just follow the instructions and invoke as much the experiences to the best you can. So this will give you the transformation, and this will help us purify the negative karmas, and this will help us germinate the virtues. Thereby we will go towards awakening. This is the whole idea. Okay, ready? Renunciation. Renunciation is not to renounce your happiness. It is to renounce your suffering. To renounce the suffering, the Buddha very clearly indicated in the essence of dependent origination mantra, Ye dharma hetu prabhava. These phenomena, they arise from the causes. To renounce the suffering, we need to learn how to renounce the causes of the suffering. And knowing that the suffering, they arise from the following causes: four misconceptions. Buddha taught the four seals as a counterforce to overcome the four misconceptions. The first, all composite things are impermanent. All composite things are impermanent. Impermanent is of two kinds: the gross and the subtle. The visible change that we see in our body, the visible changes that we see in the climate, the visible change before the end of before 2019, before the coronavirus came to be diagnosed. Everybody was busy in their own work. Suddenly the coronavirus was diagnosed and started to spread, and everybody started to panic, and then whole shutdown happened. This is change, what a change. And of course a positive change will happen, and what we are doing here will greatly contribute to this positive change, where people being locked down will be freed and everybody will go back to normalcy. Okay, these are the evident changes that we see falls in the category of the gross impermanence. And all this, the gross impermanence, the evident change that we see, the change that see over the span of 30 years, 40 years, for example, when each one of us, when we're young, like age 5, 6, 7, our body is so tender, the skin is so tender, and now after 20 years, after 30 years, 40 years, it changed. So all this change happened not overnight. It changed day by day, first year by year, month by month, week by week, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, millisecond by millisecond. This is how the change was happening. And imagine what this change is like, that you see on the second by second, you can see the change in the form of tsak, 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 quite visible. And even that is because of the nanosecond, 1 millisecond. A millisecond is like 1 second split in 1,000 segments, is so fast. This is how all composite phenomena moves. All composite phenomena move so fast. Our eyes could hardly see that. This is how our body moves, this is how our mind moves, this is how our environment moves, this is how the whole world is moving. This is all composite things impermanent. This is what the physics is telling us now, that the atoms, they're constant in movement, and even the electrons, whether in the form of the cloud or in the form of the particles, constantly in movement. This is the meaning of all composite things impermanent. So from this experience, we see a story like we are just picked up from the train station, thrown into a very fast moving train. What's the experience like? Totally uncertainty, a fear of uncertainty. Where this train is taking me, the train is moving so fast. This body is moving so fast. Where's this train of the body is taking me? Okay, if this train is, where this train takes you is decided by the train driver. If the driver is a mother, no doubt, she will take us to the picnic spot. But if the train driver is under the dictate of the terrorists, no doubt will take us to the slaughterhouse. In that case, unfortunately, the mind, which is the driver, the train driver, that is under the dictate of the two demons, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. As long as we are under the sway of these two demons, contaminations, the worst of the contaminations, mental contaminations, experience that we go through is only miseries. This is what the Buddha indicated as the second seal. All contaminated things are suffering nature. What kind of suffering? Sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, lamentation, the fear of the coronavirus spreading. Anytime it can hit me. So this is what is happening. And when will this misery stop? All contaminated things are suffering. When will this stop? There's just one moment of this, the misery is good enough for us to nullify all the past experiences of the joys. Sorry. Okay. One moment of such suffering, said the loss of near and dear ones, is good enough to nullify all the past experiences of the celebrations, festivities, parties, and so forth, merriments, and so forth. This is the meaning of the suffering. And today the coronavirus, this crisis is a very clear, the embodiment of this reality, that all composite things are impermanent and all contaminated things are from nature. Yes, that's true. Is there a way out? Unless until we put effort, it's going to be like the table water being played over and over again. Unless until we put effort, if we keep going, no matter what we do, we die, we commit suicide, or we die. It is not the end. It's just going to be, the table water will be played over and over again. When will this ever come to an end? Yes. Only if we put concerted effort to bring an end to the cause of suffering. What's the cause of suffering? To see everything as objective, real. As long as you're in the dream, as long as you believe that the dream is real, no matter what, the dream is continuously going to affect you. So how can I be out of that? By realizing that the dream is not real. It is into being real. It is just dream coming from the mind. How can I know that? This is what the Buddha indicated, that the need for us to cultivate the wisdom, study, reflect, and meditate on the wisdom. What kind of wisdom? This wisdom, like light, to remove the darkness is only to introduce the light. Likewise, to remove the darkness of ignorance, it is only to introducing the light of the wisdom. The wisdom, by the very definition, is the discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. What's the reality? The Reality is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Okay, let's quickly meditate on this emptiness. So first, for those of us who are already exposed to the emptiness studies like Acharya Chandra with this text, and to the middle way as I give the instruction, and you can really follow through this instruction to invoke the experience of emptiness. Those of us who are not exposed to this, keep in mind that in future I must study this text, Acharya Chandra with this text. This is so brilliant a gift for us, the greatest of the gift to us from the great enlightened Acharya Chandrakirti, who in turn got it from Aranyagārjuna, who in turn got it from the Buddha Shakyamuni, the very kind teacher Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, so ready? What are you doing? I'm meditating. What is mind doing? My mind is meditating. Okay. How does this person, who you identify as I, how does this person appear to you? Like a movie being projected by the movie projector? Like a dream projected by your own mind? Or, no, not at all. It's so objectively there, so objectified there, so solidly there. Which of the two ways this self appears? Of course, so objectively there. This is self-grasping ignorance. This is the ignorance which the Buddha said that this is the cause of all the suffering. How can I know that this is ignorance? This apprehension of the self to be so objectively real, this ignorance, in actuality, even this self which appears, the self which you identify as I, is nothing but like a movie projected by the movie projector. It's nothing like a dream projected by your own dreaming mind. But how can I know that this, how I view this is ignorance? How can I know this? Remember what Aranyagārjuna said in the precious garden. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? In like manner, if this self were to exist objectively, why don't I see this self as I go closer to this object? Okay, now let us go closer to this object. Going close to this object, just ignore all these which are not the self. You only want to see what the self is, whether or not it exists objectively. Going closer to the object, you're going closer to the ultimate. Going closer to the ultimate is known as the ultimate analysis. With this analysis, if you do find something, that is the ultimate truth. And this analysis, whatever is not the self, just keep them aside. And we're looking for the self in this analysis, in this ultimate analysis, in this ultimate mode. Okay, what we first find is by going closer to the self, what we first find is just a thin layer of the skin. And of course, this meditation is so powerful. If you're very serious with this, we never know. Some of you might, in the end, you might have tickling sensations, amazing experience. In some cases, in many cases, a tinge of fear. And in some cases, an extremely tranquil experience. So these will tell you that this is so precious. This is a panacea to heal all our problems. Okay. Go close to the self. We see that just a thin layer of the skin. Of course, this is not me. Behind that is the fatty tissues. That's not me. Keep that aside. Behind that, muscles, cartilages, the skeleton, the heart, the lungs, the kidney, the spleen, the stomach, the intestine, the gallbladder, liver, the brain. None of this solid part is me. This solid part constitutes the element of earth. Element of earth is not me. Keep that aside. Element of water. 4 liters of the blood pumped in and out by the heart to the different parts of the body. Of course, that is not me. Element of water is not me. Keep that aside. Element fire. 2,500 joules of energy that our body has. Of course, that is not me. Keep that aside. Element of air. 4.6 liters of air which we breathe in and out through our lungs. Even that is not the self. Keep that aside. And space. 99.99% of our body is made of space. But on a soft person, the space vacuum in nature. Even the space also not, keep that aside. What is left now? Only the consciousness consciousness is left, only the mind is left. Even this mind, element of consciousness, also not me, because I'm a male, I'm a female. My mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body, and people can see me, people cannot see my mind. Therefore, even this mind is also not me. Keep that aside. What is left now? Nothing is left there. Bring back the 6 elements. Which of the 6 elements is the self? None. Which means that you are seeing that the self is not one with the 6 elements. If the 6 elements is not the self, keeping aside the 6 elements, what is there left as a self? Nothing is left as a self. This is the meaning of you see the self to be and to being different from the self. Wow. So these are the only 2 options there from the object. If something is there as a self, it should be either the 6 elements or different from the 6 elements. And both of them do not hold true. So what is there as a self? Nothing is there. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay. Just imagine that, okay, what's the benefit of this this very profound meditation? No doubt, a tickling sensation happens to me. A sense of, a tinge of fear comes in me. An extremely tranquil experience comes to me. But what's the final benefit of this? Yes, just as this self disappears in the experience of the ultimate analysis, if you subject all your miseries, the misery of the coronavirus COVID-19, and all forms of fears, you subject them to the same ultimate analysis, we see that they also don't exist. They don't exist objectively. Seeing them as objectively real creates so much of fear within us. Seeing them as empty from the object, the fear dissolves. So just imagine that you are subjecting the fear of coronavirus COVID-19 into this analysis, and then it disappears. This fear is nothing but in the form of the mind. Even this mind is empty of objective reality. It does exist, but it does not exist objectively. It is seen as empty of objective existence. The fear, the mind, the mental state of fear, it dissolves into emptiness. Stay in this experience. In this experience of the ultimate reality, you see that from the object, everything dissolves, everything is empty. There's nothing there from the object to affect you anymore. This is where your mind is totally freed, totally liberated from being affected by external factors. This is known as the total liberation. This is known as the full awakening, total liberation, total freedom, nirvana. Just cultivate very strong aspiration that may I be able to abide in this experience altogether at all times infinitely, so that my mind will not be affected by any external factors anymore. That aspiration is the final understanding of renunciation. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, slowly come up this practice. We'll take say half a minute break or 20 seconds break before we switch to the Bodhisattva practice on the basis of the 4 immeasurables. Okay, just 20 seconds break. Are you ready? Ready? Bodhisattva practice on the basis of the 4 immeasurables. Are you ready? Reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you, particularly Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and your respective teachers. all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas around you, so loving, so caring, particularly so happy to see that you're going to practice bodhicitta. And you surrounded by your two parents, all family members, including children, and all sentient beings, those who passed away, and those who already passed away, those who are still in the hospital, and everybody who now lives in fear. And they're joining you. And the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're watching us with great excitement, with so much of love and pride. What are you doing today? And you are leading this. Okay, again the same is going to be guided meditation. Just invoke the respective experiences to the best you can by following the instructions. Stop ruminating over the past experiences. Stop anticipating for anything of the future. Detach yourself from the five sensory objects and be the present moment. Follow the instructions so well. Immeasurable loving kindness. And okay, just a reminder that all these four immeasurable practices, say how we designed this, is designed in such a way that this is something unique of the Mahayana practitioners, meaning that something those who seek the bodhicitta as the aspiration, the Buddhahood as the aspiration, this is what we do. And then of course that what we are doing here may not really tally with our natural thinking, which means that what we are doing here is something extremely noble, extremely on a very different level of the compassion, a very different level of the love and affection, taking the responsibility and so forth. You may feel that my mind is not really thinking like this. It's totally the opposite. So it is like a fake. It doesn't matter. This is how we begin. Even playing a music, practicing music, we have to start faking your teachers. And then gradually it becomes very natural. First we begin with the superficiality, and then you do it again and again, and then put effort, and then naturally it becomes very natural and spontaneous. When that happens, then we see that this is the greatest of the gift for you, not necessarily for others, but for you. This is the greatest gift of your life. This is the greatest of the meaning of your life. Okay. Immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. Causes happiness primarily the bodhicitta which cherishes others more than oneself, and the wisdom of emptiness which views everything like a dream. May all my dear mother sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I will take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing the living such a gracious commitment, they intensely happy and proud for you, like the mother of all these many years of bringing her children, bearing the hardship of bringing the children. Today, the eldest daughter, just age 12, and the eldest son, just age 11, two of them come to the mother, telling the mother, "Mother, please take rest. We're already grown up. We'll take care of all our siblings. You have done everything for us. You love us so much. We love you so much. Please take rest. We'll also take care of you. We're already grown up. We'll take care of my siblings." The mother could not believe her eyes and ears. Just tears rolling down her cheeks. This is exactly what is happening to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They're so proud of what you're doing today. This pride and happiness the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas experience invoke the compassionate omniscient minds to send the nectars of soothing lights towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars with the bodies brings you yours instills in all happiness and the causes of happiness in the minds of dear sentient beings and yourself. And you witnessing such marvelous happening towards all of the sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sound with the relief. Next, immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear Mother Sentient beings are freed from suffering, the fear, and the causes of fear and suffering. Causes of the fear and suffering, primarily the self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude, and the offshoots in the form of gross afflictions, desire, hatred, cruelty, jealousy, and so forth, and the contaminant karmas, respective contaminant karmas. May all my dear Mother Sentient beings be free from suffering, the fears, and the causes of suffering, the fears. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear Mother Sentient beings are free from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that it makes such a gracious commitment, they intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to send for nectars of soothing lights towards you and all dear Mother Sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars with the bodies brings you yours, washes away all the miseries, the fears, and the cause of the fears, the coronavirus, COVID-19, all are washed completely altogether. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all, dear Mother Sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sound with relief. Next, immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my dear Mother Sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that the beings are endowed with. May all my dear Mother Sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that beings are endowed with. I will take the responsibility that all my dear Mother Sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they are endowed with, particularly the wisdom of emptiness and the bodhicitta, which cherishes others more than oneself. And the Buddhas Bodhisattvas, witnessing that they make such a courageous commitment, like a mother after all these many years of hardship bringing her children, raising her children. Today, the eldest daughter and the eldest son, just in the teenage, come to the mother, tell the mother, "Mother, please take rest. We are grown up, we'll take care of all the siblings." The mother could not believe her eyes, ears, tears rolling down her cheeks out of tremendous joy and happiness. This is exactly what is happening to all the Buddhas Bodhisattvas. They're so proud of you today. This pride in the happiness they experience invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to send for nectars of soothing lights towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies beings you yours stabilizes the happiness and causes happiness the beings are endowed with. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to us all the human sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other dear sentient beings alike, leaving none aside. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. I will take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassion omniscient minds to send the nectars of soothing light to all other sentient beings. The mere touch of light and nectars with the body brings you yours. Frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion towards others, and making them abide in the great state of equanimity, embracing all other eternal sentient beings equally, leaving none aside. And you witnessing such miraculous happening towards all eternal sentient beings, you are intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, silent with relief. Underscoring all the 4 immeasurables is the unconditional love towards all eternal sentient beings. Abide in this beautiful mind of unconditional love. Imagining that you are looking at eyes of each of the sentient beings one by one, reassuring them that I'm here, have no fear, I'll take care of you, and all of them feel so special in your eyes. Okay, with folded hands, I'll make a line of commitment, a positive commitment, most beautiful mind in this universe. And let us all say this together wholeheartedly. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. 3 times together. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Abide in this most beautiful mind in this universe, the most appealing mind in this universe of the Bodhicitta. Slowly transform this beautiful mind of Bodhicitta into a spotlessly white moon disc, 1 inch or 1.5 inches in diameter, horizontally sitting with the heart. Wow, it's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha. It's amazing. But no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil will come out of that. Likewise, how do you know that you can become a Buddha? Yes, I'm not like a handful of sand, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil will come out of that. I have the potential of the Buddhahood inside. This is known as Buddha nature. The Tathagata Garbha, I have that. But how come that is not activated since time immemorial till now? Yes, that's very true. Since time from immemorial till today, I've been just deceived by the 2 demons, self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. Today I'm disillusioned by these 2 demons. These 2 are not my friends anymore. I'm going to exterminate the 2 demons. How? It's amazing, but how? Yes, I'm going to introduce a very strong counter force, driven by the force of the bodhicitta, the counter force of the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, let us quickly retrieve the experience of the emptiness meditation, which we did as the 3rd seal of the 4 seals. Okay, what are you doing? I'm meditating. And you are made of just the 6 elements. Element earth, the solid parts of the self, the skeleton, the flesh, the heart, the lungs, and so forth. Element earth is not me. Element water, the blood which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body. That is also not me. Element of fire, the body heat. That's also not me. Element of water, the element of air. That's not me. Element of space, not me. Element of consciousness, not me. Okay, besides these six elements, what is left there is different from this element. Nothing is left there. Or which of the two options? The six elements or the different from six elements? None of these two. Then from the object, what's there is a self. Nothing is there. Stay in this experience. Okay, imagine that you come out of the meditation. Again, this self comes back. This self appears to my mind. Going back to meditation, this self disappears. Coming out of meditation, this self comes back. It appears to my mind. So, knowing that from the object is not there, but it does appear to a mind, it is the mere appearance. The mere appearance. It is on this mere appearance level that all the functionality is operating. This is known as the efficacy of the functionality on the subjective conventional level. From the object, nothing is really there. From the object, even the self is empty. Stay in this experience for a while. If a tinge of fear comes to you, a tinge of a tickling sensation comes to you, you're very fortunate. A tinge of tranquil experience comes to you, you're very fortunate. Okay, slowly transform this wisdom of emptiness, the most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness, into a spotless, clean, concise, white Vajra, vertically sitting on the moon disk of your heart. It's amazing. Now you have the moon disk, symbolic of the conventional bodhicitta, to exterminate the self-centered attitude. The Vajra, symbolic of the ultimate bodhicitta, the remedy to overcome the self-grasping ignorance and all the subtle stains of this. Amazing. So these two guarantee that your mental stains will be eradicated and the diamond inside, the treasure of the ultimate happiness, Buddha nature, will become awakened fully. Amazing that you will be least affected by external factors, then your mind will expand at infinitum, at infinite space, to feel the infinite ease, infinite happiness known as Buddhahood. Amazing. Let's not forget your true parents, your family members, your children, and all dear sentient beings. All the doctors, the nurses, the medical staff who sacrificed their life to the coronavirus to help to save the humanity in Wuhan, in India, in Iran, in Italy, in South Korea, everywhere in the world, today in America, in New York, everywhere in the world. Just visualize all of them feeling so much of love, compassion, loving kindness towards them. This intensity of love and affection that you feel, the compassion that you feel towards them, invoke the Vajra moon at your heart to multiply infinite number of times. She has one set of the Vajra moon at the heart of your mother, one set at the heart of your father, one set with each one of your family members, including your children, one with each one of the beings who passed away to the coronavirus, the beings who are in the hospital because of coronavirus, the doctors, nurses, all the the staff who are sacrificing their life to help the humanity, to save the humanity. Each one of them have the Vajra, to share the Vajra moon from you to everyone, all the human beings on this earth, in the Milky Way galaxy, in the entire universe, the animals, the insects, the honeygoes, the hell beings, the spirits, the gods and goddesses, everyone has it now. Amazing, amazing. To what a meaningful life today. Wow, I'm so lucky, I'm so happy. Let us not forget, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they've been watching us. Yes, of course. Why not let us invite and request them to the witness to undertaking the Aspirational Bodhisattva ceremony. As a gesture of making the request, let us slowly stand up along with all dear sentient beings to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And you can make 3 prostrations. I'm going to do the full length prostration on my prostration, the wooden plank. Do the half length, full length, whatever. And if you have knee problem, it doesn't matter. Just bow down 3 times to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's good enough. Okay. Along with all 10 sentient beings, let's stand up to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, now let's all sit on our right knees. Those who have knee problem, no problem. The knee problem, please sit in whatever position which is more comfortable to you. And those who have no knee problem, on a cushion or on a mattress, then you sit on your right knees to undergo the ceremony. And let us turn to the page. Page. Okay, page 50. Let's turn to page 50 of the book, or the collection of the pages. Page 50. Okay, now this is the actual ceremony, undertaking the ceremony of Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, and you have already invoked all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to be with you, in front of you, and you are encouraging your two parents, your children, all the family members, all sentient beings are with you, living on the side with you, and you are living. And imagine, just imagine that imagine that you're the elders, you say a young child, age 5, for the first time in her life or in his life, for the first time, she's going to make a public appearance representing school, and for the parents, this is the greatest thing, to take pride in you. And the parents, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're so proud of what you're doing today. You are like this small child who's making a public appearance for the first time, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the parents, they leave everything behind to be there as a witness, to be there as the audience, waving their hands to you, to tell you that we are here, we are so proud of you. This is your first public appearance. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are so happy. And they're just with great excitement. The way you made the request, they are just observing this. They are being the guest here. They are being witnessing what you're doing here. And you, as the eldest child, you are encouraging all your siblings to be with you. You are teaching them, and you, like the eldest child, you are encouraging all the sentient beings to take part in this ceremony, so that they will extract the greatest meaning out of their life. Okay, with this in mind, let's first say the stanza, the first stanza 3 times. I'm going to quickly explain this stanza. This is the preparation, the first stanza. Because what we're doing today is an extremely important journey, the journey of cleansing the mind, which we have never thought of before. We were only trying to rectify the external things, never thinking of the rectifying the internal. So whereas today we are doing something very different. The rectifying the internal, internally, to cleanse the mind, to undertake this journey of cleansing the internal mental defilements. So for that, this is the most important journey. For that, we need incredible support, and the greatest of the support is the Triple Gem. So the first line says, "I go for refuge to the Triple Gem." And then after taking refuge in the Triple Gem as a support, then the next is, this journey involves 2 things. One is where the road must be very clear. So the road is none other than your own mind. If the road is blocked by the trees, the boulders and so forth, you cannot undertake the journey. So our mind must be removed of the boulders and the trees of the mental defilements, negative karmas. So the best way by which to do so is by confessing the negativities. The second line says, "I confess the negativities individually." So after the road is being very clear, but if the car does not have the fuel, again we cannot undertake the journey. So the car is none other than our own mind, and this car of the mind must have enough fuel to merit. And the best way by which you accumulate so much merit within a short span of time is by rejoicing in the virtues of others. So the third line says, "I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings." Now your journey is ready, the road is clear, and your car is enough fuel. What kind of journey are you going to undertake? So that's the journey of Buddhahood. I'm going to take the journey of the Buddhahood. The fourth line says, "I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart." Okay, let's say this wholeheartedly 3 times. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Okay, the next two stanzas are the actual ceremony. Actual ceremony, the most ceremony. I'm going to explain these two stanzas. The first, it invokes the Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. Please pay to me. Then the two stanzas. The first stanza is pertaining to the Buddhas of the past, the previous Buddhas, and the second stanza pertaining to yourself. And how, if you look at the biography of the Buddha Shakyamuni, we see that just one young boy, all these 2,500 years is able to benefit innumerable beings, infinite number of beings. How come that he is so successful? For two reasons. Initially, he was driven with a very powerful motivation to become Buddha, to be fully awakened to benefit all beings, the motivation of bodhicitta. Then, to materialize this aspiration of the bodhicitta, he actually engaged in the practices to become a Buddha. Practice of 6 perfections, practice of 10 perfections. So this is how he succeeded. Wow, this is amazing. If this is how he succeeded, I'm also his follower. I'm also his following his footsteps. So I will also follow his footsteps. I will also generate very strong motivation to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And to materialize the aspiration of this, I will also engage in the bodhisattva practices like 6 perfections, 10 perfections. The profession of generosity, ethical discipline, patience, enthusiasm, single point the concentration, and the wisdom. And then the skillfulness, aspirational prayer, then the power, and the discriminative wisdom. So I'll also engage in these 10 perfections. Okay, we're going to say this 3 times. From the third repetition, we see the last 2 lines of the second stanza. And likewise, shall I too successively follow the bodhisattva practices. When we say that, you just feel the joy of having received the bodhisattva vow, aspiration bodhisattva vow. Just feel the joy, which is so precious. The more you feel the joy, and the bodhisattva, the aspirational bodhisattva vow that you got is going to be more pure. Okay. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're watching us, and you are leading this, and all sentient beings like your very young siblings, you encourage them, and they so wholeheartedly follow you, and you are leading this ceremony. Okay. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous. Okay. Meanwhile, if you feel pain in your knees, please feel free to sit down in whatever position is better for you. Because finally we did this gesture in order to feel the give value, give respect to this practice. Now when you start to feel pain, your thought process is more important. So please sit in a comfortable position and then do this. Otherwise, with the pain, your mind cannot concentrate on what we're doing. Okay. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelt in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successively train in the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelt in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successively train in the bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwelt in the bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successively train in the bodhisattva practices. Just feel the joy of having received the aspiration bodhisattva. We are so fortunate, amazing and fortunate. Imagine that in the school, your mother has been hearing all the complaints from the school principal, And today the school principal, escorted by the staff, is coming towards the mother, and the mother would be so apprehensive. Again, we're going to complain. Today is slightly different. School principal there's a tremendous smile coming with the courtesy there, smile. And the mother could not believe what is happening. Any complaint today? The principal, no way, no complaint. Your daughter and your son, two of them, are appointed as the best of the students of the school for this year. The mother could not believe her eyes and ears. This is exactly what is happening today. So we, since time immemorial till now, we have been always engaged in negative karmas, or being cruel towards others, or being jealous, craving, greed, the anger and so forth. And of all these innumerable lifetimes, we accumulate only doing mischievous things, negative accumulating negative karmas. Those bodhisattvas, they are so tired, they are so sad. And today they could not believe what is happening. They are so proud of what you've been doing here. Okay, because of this incredible pride and happiness all the bodhisattvas feel today, visualize that it invokes the Vajra moon at the hearts of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the full-fledged form to multiply infinite number of times. These replicas of the Vajra, innumerable, trillion, infinite number of the Vajra moons, replicas from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, in barrage like rain shower, they descend to merge with the one that you visualize in your heart, becoming non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, these replicas in barrage like rain shower, they descend to merge with the one that you visualize at the heart of your mother, at the heart of father, at the heart of each one of your children, each one of the child, your family members, everyone, all the human beings, those who died to the coronavirus, those who are in hospital now, the medical staff, the doctors, nurses, all the staff, all the human beings on this Milky Way galaxy, the entire universe, the animals, the insects, the spirits, the hungry ghosts, the hell beings, the god and goddesses, everyone. Okay, this is amazing. If there's one meaning which is so precious, this, what you did today, is the greatest meaning. And today you have extracted this greatest meaning out of your life. You have given such meaning to your life today. It's amazing. And this greatest gift that you can think of to make to all the Buddha, or to all the sentient beings. And today you did it. And of all the offerings that you can potentially think of, the Buddha very clearly indicated that all the offerings, the offering of the just meditating on great compassion for one moment is far what excels offerings of the entire universe filled with the golden, the diamonds, gold, silver and so forth to be offered to Buddha's Bodhisattva. If this were to be the case, then what I mentioned of what we did today, having taken the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, is amazing. So this all happened because of the okay, so this, the greatest of the gift that you're offering, making to all the Buddhas, to all the dear sentient beings, today you did it. And this greatest offering that you can make to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, today you did it. Today you made this offering. And today you extract the greatest meaning out of life. And today, that's what you did today. So this all happened because of the kindness of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking them, along with all dear sentient beings, again let us slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, now please take your seats comfortably. Okay, let's turn to page 51, the next page, the very next page. So this life we are very fortunate that we come in contact with the practice of bodhicitta, with the wisdom of emptiness and so forth, the two bodhicittas, and having had the opportunity of taking the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. So what about our lives? It would be a great loss. It would be very unfortunate if we don't meet with the same teaching next life. So for that, there are two things. So one, the next life to be connected with this teaching. Then number two, once connected, then rigorously engage in this practice of bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. Many people can be connected with the teaching, but not becoming so seriously taking advantage of this practice. And many, they don't even come in contact with the teaching, forget about taking the practice very seriously. So both are required. For the first one, to come in contact with this teaching, we need to include a very powerful prayer. So the stanza that we could read from here, this is for that purpose, to be connected with this teaching, with the blessings of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, let us say this stanza 3 times wholeheartedly. And you are reading this, and all sentient beings are joining you. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are watching us. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even in the course of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Okay, this stanza is to build the connection, and the following stanzas extracted from Bodhisattva Shantideva's text. And this is to that having met with these two practices, then we rigorously engage in this practice with tremendous joy. For that matter, we need to cultivate the joy. These stanzas are meant to activate the joy. Okay, let's read these stanzas together. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized and awakened in mind of bodhicitta in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddha, and now am one of Buddha's children. Thus, I do from now on must be in accord with the family, and never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied trace. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakening mind has been born within me. It is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is the tree that shelters all beings wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of the disturbing conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of Dharma. For all these guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in the supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May gods and demigods all be joyful. Okay, now let us go to the end dedication prayer. End dedication prayer, which is on page it is on page 288. Page 288, dedication prayer. Okay, now we finish this ceremony. We are extremely fortunate to be able to do this, and this is a service, this is a contribution to the humanity, to save the humanity, to save the world from the coronavirus COVID-19, that by enriching this world of the virtues of compassion, of the wisdom, the evil forces manifesting in the form of coronavirus COVID-19 be subsided, and that the medical experts, the scientists, will soon find the vaccine and the various medications for this disease. Okay, with this mind, and let us pray that as long as the great enlightened beings such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the great teachers of the monastery universities across the traditions of the Theravada, the Chinese, Tibetan, within Tibetan, Sakya, Kagyu, Nyingma, Gilo, as long as these greatly enlightened teachers, and from the other traditions also like Christianity, Islam, Jainism, Hinduism, and the Judaism, and Sikhism, Baha'i, Zoroastrianism, from all traditions, the enlightened beings, very compassionate beings, and the beings with the wisdom, as long as they survive, they live on this earth, the earth is going to be a much better place. So let us pray that all these enlightened beings, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, they live long and their wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And let us all pray that the cruelty, that the negative karmas of the sentient beings, they subside, we stop doing these things, and that we have been more compassionate towards animals, we have been more compassionate towards the fellow human beings, and because of which the coronavirus subsides, and that the people who are in the hospitals because of this, and the medical staff, the doctors, nurses, all the medical staff, that they don't have to live in fear, and that the world will find the sunshine of the joy and happiness. And let us pray that this final cause of the joy and happiness, the fearlessness in the form of renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, flourish in the minds of all human sentient beings. Okay, let us, with that in mind, let's recite the following stanzas. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful changes the Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samadhi too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praise as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the more noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of the teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect within the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find new hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from the illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those abound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting one another. By the merits I've accumulated, may every single being abandon all forms of wrongdoing and perpetually engage in virtue. May they never departed from the mind of bodhicitta, and may they always engage in the Bodhisattva's contact. May they be cared for by the Buddhas and relinquish the actions of devils. May no living creature ever suffer, commit wrong, or evil or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, or their minds ever be depressed. May all the pains of living creatures ripen slowly upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. Having dispelled all inner and outer obstacles and downfalls, such as poverty, despair, oppression, cruelty, epidemics, and natural disasters due to environmental degradation, may all beings forever enjoy the glory of peace and happiness. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I journey the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and subjugating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts. May Dharma and auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of union and emptiness of compassion is loosely explained by the protective Buddha Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. With the lotus hold of Tenzin Gyatso, we subjugate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. By the dependent realization of the profound sustenance of the appearance and emptiness, together with the force of great compassion of the three jewels and the power of the truth, and through the virtue of the infallible law of karma and its fruits, may this truthful prayer of ours be unhindered and quickly fulfilled. May the teachings of this beneficent one till the world's end be unshaken by the winds of evil thoughts. May it always be met by the innumerable beings who find conviction in the teacher by understanding the teaching's true nature. May I never falter even for an instant to uphold the excellent way of the Buddha, which illuminates the principle of dependent origination through all my births, even giving away my body and life. May I spend the day and night carefully reflecting on what means can I enhance this teaching achieved by the Supreme Savior, the Buddha, through strenuous effort over countless eons. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Ramajishri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even in the cosmic life. Okay, with this we finish. We will now dedicate the seal. We'll seal this the practice with the wisdom of emptiness, so that the practice which we did will not be destroyed by any other forces. Okay, quickly, let us sit in a very relaxed, meditative posture. Think of the self. Think of the emptiness of self. How the self is nothing but made of the six elements. Like the table made of the atoms, like the beautiful flower made of the atoms. Going into the atoms, the flower is just empty. On the atomic level, nothing is there as a flower there. Likewise, in these six elements, nothing is there as a self. Six elements, not the self. Different from the six elements, not the self. From the object, there's nothing there as a self. Stay in this experience. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, and let us all say the hygiene is so important. One thing that we did is the long-term plan, the benefit to the humanity, and to cultivate the root of the virtues as the resources for our hands to mitigate the power of the fear, mitigate the power of the coronavirus, COVID-19. Meanwhile, please take care. The immediate measure of taking care of the sanitation, the hygiene, and the washing hands, drinking water frequently, and then the respecting the social distancing and keeping your immunity strong. And please spread this message, the need to respect the social distancing to others. There are many people who are following religion so blindly, and then they don't listen to the the instructions from the government to be maintaining social distancing. Let us spread this word, encourage others to follow, to respect the social distancing. It's for our own good. Many people, some of them who are following religion so blindly from all traditions, and then some of the young people who just want to go to indulgence. They think that they are just trapped, they are being imprisoned, they want to simply go against this. This is suicidal. So therefore, let us all, they help the respective governments to help save this humanity, and above all, be happy. This is so important. Keep happy and keep yourself engaged with some virtues. Don't remain demoralized. Keep happy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a virtuous day.